All right, welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Dollar Bin Digging. This is the video and article that I do for comicbookinvest.com, where I talk about those hidden little treasures you can still find in those dollar boxes, those cheap boxes at your LCS, flea markets, garage sales, wherever you can find your cheap comic books. These are the kind of little things you want to keep an eye out for. Hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as everything else here on Rennavision. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Make sure you check out the live shows on Sunday for Star Wars and Wednesday when I do the tax show with Marco. And this New Year's Eve, make sure you're following me on Whatnot, as I'm going to be doing a cbsi sale New Year's Eve night, 10 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to be selling a bunch of variants starting at auction, starting at $1 at auction. So come check it out and see if you can get yourself some pretty cool books. And like I said, give me a follow on Whatnot and just come join the conversation because it's a live auction. So I'll be there. I'll be chatting. I'll be talking. And so just come and join the fun there as well. Again, 10 p.m. Eastern time on New Year's Eve. Don't worry, we're going to end before the ball dropping because I only got a limited amount of time before I got to have to cut the show anyway. But that all being said, if you want to see what books I have for you this week, because I do have books, I'm not doing any recap or rehash of things. I do have some new books to talk about for Dollar Bin Digging this week. And if you want to know what they are, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro and I'll be right back with the books. All right, so what do I got for you this week? News was pretty light, but there was actually some things coming and teased in some actual comic books the last, week or two. So I'm going to try to dive into a little bit of that stuff because I think there's still stuff that we might be able to find connected to some of the recent Marvel releases. So yes, I'm doing another Marvel-focused list here because, well, that's what I got in front of me. That's what I was reading. So this is some of the stuff that kind of caught my eye. So there's going to be a little bit of rumor, speculation, and looking ahead at what we might be getting based on some of these current storylines that are running through some of these Marvel comics, as well as some of the stuff that's been talked about as far as the movies go. We're going to start there with just a tiny bit of the movie, Disney Plus type news, because I don't want to do it all about that, because it is about comic books as well. So the rest of this is going to be about comics. But our first pick is going to be kind of related to a lot of the rumors we've been hearing, actually the last few months. This stuff goes back all the way to everything. We've been looking at Namor for ages now, right? Everybody's talking Namor. He's going to be in Black Panther 2. He's going to be in Black Panther 2, which is probably the case. Who knows? Maybe we're getting him. Maybe we're not. But this is still something that's being talked about, as well as those rumors just from like a month or two ago where, oh, you know what? Doctor Strange, we're going to see Professor X show up in the Marvel Universe through Doctor Strange. Because, we're going to get Professor X. Yeah, sure. And then just this past week or so, I think it was last week actually, when we got the first bit where they were saying that Reed Richards is going to come to the Marvel Universe through Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness. And you know who else we found out a couple of days later? Well, guess what? Black Bolt's coming too. They're all coming. All these characters are going to show up thanks to, Doctor Strange 2. Which again, maybe it happens, but I highly doubt that. Honestly, I don't think they're going to do that with a lot of these bigger type characters. That being said, I think all of this is just all generating from the same rumor from way, way back. And that's, all based around Marvel's Illuminati. I mean, I think that's what we're talking about here. Is it a coincidence? We were talking about, Doctor Strange. We're talking about Reed Richards showing up. We're talking about Black Bolt. We're talking about Namor. We're talking about Professor X. Only problem is Tony Stark's is already gone in the MCU. So we are missing a big piece of the Illuminati, but hey, who knows? Maybe we do get something related to them at some point. I just think it's a bit premature to say it's coming right now. That's just my personal feeling. I don't think they're going to dump all of that in a movie that's coming out in only just, a couple of months. What is it, May? So I don't think it's going to happen personally, but hey, you never know. It's a rumor. That's why these are rumors. So just letting you know, but rumors sell books, and that's what's going on out there in the market. And the book I'm going to talk about is one that's been brought up many times before. It's been spec'd on before, but it's got highs and lows. There's been ebbs and flows. So right now, it seems that it's on the uptick again. But since it's on the uptick again, that means it's spent a good amount of time back in those forgotten kind of bins and maybe some dollar boxes out there, because they did print a lot of these. And that is obviously the first Illuminati, which was in New Avengers number 7. Again, they printed a lot of these. This was a very popular run when Bendis was writing the Avengers back at this time. So there were a lot, especially with the hype around Sentry coming. So this is not a low printed book. So there are a lot of copies out there, which is why you can still seem to find them when you go out there digging. And you can see even online, some can sell for a decent amount, but then some not as much. Evidence here that just today, buy it now, $25. And last week, 8 bids got up to only $6.51. So it wasn't exactly setting the world on fire all this time. So I mean, $6.50 ain't that expensive. And that was at auction with 8 bids. So I don't know. And then if you want to go shopping even now, yes, copies are a little bit pricier, but if you keep your eyes out for some of those auctions, maybe you find one cheaper. As you can see right now, there's an auction going on at $20, and then buy it now for like $30. So a lot of copies right now are listed around $30. So you're probably not going to want to buy them online. So go hit those boxes, go hit those back issue bins, and go find yourself a cheaper version, cheaper copy. But that's if you believe the Illuminati's coming. But it's also just kind of a fun story, but I just don't think it's actually going to happen yet. Will we get it down the line? Maybe. I just think it's premature to put all the eggs in the Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness basket, because there's already enough, I think, being packed into that movie with Dark Doctor Stranges, and you got Wanda, and we got, America Chavez coming, like, going to deal with the Spider-Man repercussions and Wong. There's already a lot going on. I don't think they're going to be throwing all these other characters in. Just saying. Now, going back to some comics, actual comics, and reading through some comics, we got what's been going on in like those X books. I know they're prepping themselves for like a big revamp again. But an interesting little story here in Sword is that, a traitor is revealed. And that is revealed in Sword number 11, where Abigail Brand may not be the good guy we thought. She may not be the helpful character that we've seen the last few years. So she might actually be a pretty bad guy. I don't know. Interesting take, interesting little twist to put it on her and make her a more interesting character that we may see maybe showing up in something. I mean, this is the type of character. It's a newer character, not a lot of history that they need to adhere to, and not a lot of introduction necessary. I think general audiences, if they were to put a character like this into play in Disney Plus or in the movies, I think they just buy in pretty easily, because it makes a lot of sense what she does, with the sword and the aliens and that kind of thing. It makes sense. So this is a character we could see coming, but I think it's interesting in the comments them basically giving her a heel turn. So she's turning heel. Again, people have been specking on her character for a while now, so you're not probably going to find Astonishing X-Men number 6 in those cheap boxes anymore. There were a lot, because again, this was another title that had a pretty hefty print run too, because Joss Whedon was writing the X-Men. It was a big time thing at the time, so they printed a lot. It's not a hard to find book, but it's still pretty pricey. And I'm not saying you're going to find this version out there, but keep an eye out, because there are other ones out there. And I don't mean this one, which is a not for resale copy. Yes, you see the cover. It's the same cover, but this is actually, the guts of this is actually issue 4. So this is not actually the first appearance of Abigail Brand, if you see the not for resale version of this cover. This, again, is a different book inside. This is issue 4 of Astonishing X-Men. For whatever reason, they slapped issue 6's cover on it when they packaged it with Kitty Pryde's Marvel Legends figure back in the 2000, I don't forget what year it was. But anyway, this old Marvel Legends figure that came with the comics back when they used to do that, it's issue 4, but with the cover of issue 6. So don't get fooled, because you're not getting first Abigail Brand with this toy reprint of that comic. So don't grab that one. The one you do want to look out for is the Wolverine cover, which I believe is the cover for issue 3, but the guts of this book are issue 6, which is the first appearance of Abigail Brand. So this is another version of her first appearance you can grab that's not that terribly expensive right now, and it's just an interesting little book. I mean, it came with a toy. This one, again, not for resale copy. It came with Wolverine in the Apocalypse series of the Marvel Legends. So pretty cool book, pretty cool Wolverine cover. Why they decided to slap it on the Abigail Brand book, I don't know, but they did. So it's just an interesting little book you can find out there if you can find it. It might be a little tough, but these toy, not for resale books are the kind of things I love finding in those cheap boxes, because you do find them occasionally, because they're they just end up there. People don't care. They just, oh, they got a toy. There's an extra comic. It just finds its way into these cheap boxes. Some of these toy books, these books that come with the figures, and it's one thing just to keep an eye out for. So you see, not for resale. I generally grab them, even if they're dinged up a little bit. But as you can see right here, November 28th, one of these sold for $13. So not terribly expensive, considering the first print of this is like a $40, $50 book, I think, is what the prices are selling for. So this could be a cheaper option for you, and an interesting one. At least I think it's interesting, especially if you can find it for cheap. And if you want to go buy it, though, only copy that I found was actually paired up with the first print. So look at that. It's $85 for the pair. So a lot of it is you're paying for that first print, unfortunately. So that was the only one I can come across with a quick search. Maybe more are out there, and I just didn't search for them the right way. But it's a book to keep an eye out for. And a fun little way to find that Abigail Brand first appearance. Great. Again, it's a reprint, but, consider it a variant. A lot of people like that. Just a little different version. And speaking of different versions, we also have this book that you should keep an eye out for. This is the Marvel Select Flipbook magazine. So this is also a reprint book. I think that was a year after they came out with this. So I think the Abigail Brand first appearance showed up in like 2004, I want to say, and I think these flip books came out in 2005. But since it's a flip book, who knows what side you're going to see when you're flipping through a box. So you might see this cover of New X-Men Academy number 6, or you might see what you're actually looking for, the Astonishing X-Men number 6 cover. Again, it's a flip book, so you don't know how it's going to be stuck in that bag and board. So it's good to know both covers because you're getting both books in a flip book format. But this is, again, another version, a reprint of Abigail Brand's first. So it's kind of a fun one to keep an eye out for. Again, one of those weird things you might find in a cheap box, because who's collecting Marvel Selects? Granted, these are not the easiest things to find because who's buying Marvel Selects? But it's an oddball thing you might come across when you're digging in those odd boxes at, like I said, flea markets, yard sales, who knows, even at the LCS, because, they're not going to know everything. This cover might look familiar, but again, if they see the new X-Men book, that was going to be straight dollar bin fodder. So if that's the cover they see in a bag and board, that's where that book's going. It's going in that cheap box, because who cares about new X-Men Academy? Now, that said, what does this book actually do? Well, it's an interesting little book. None sold, though. None sold because, you just don't see a whole bunch of them. I don't know if a lot of people know how to even search or find these things, but none sold. But there is an available copy that's looking for $30, which, interesting. Still cheaper than the first print. Again, this is a reprint, but still, it's an interesting version. And you get a free poster inside. That's kind of fun, right? Anyway, that's what I got for the Abigail Brand portion of our little list here. And I'm going to move on to a couple of books now that are going to come spinning out of the issue of Timeless that came out this week. So Marvel Event, they've been talking about this for a little while ago, from a little while now. So Kang shows up and we get a pretty decent issue of Timeless #1. And they hint at a lot of things coming our way, including the return of Marvel Man, Miracle Man. I know he was Marvel Man initially, but Miracle Man looks like he might be making his way to the actual Marvel universe now. I know a lot of craziness with the legal ownership and everything that went with that. Again, as I mentioned, Marvel Man, Miracle Man, why the name had to be changed, and who printed it here, printed it where, who owns the rights, who doesn't. Well, Marvel did eventually get those rights back, and they still have them right now. So, end of Timeless. If I'm spoiling the issue, well, you should have read it. It came out on Wednesday, and if not, well, sorry. But at the end of Timeless, you can see there, obviously, Miracle Man. The logo's right there. It's right there in front of your face that they're teasing it in some way. And you're probably not going to find the Eclipse first print of this book from way back when. You're not going to find that in a dollar bin, most likely. If you do, buy it, obviously. If it's a classic book, and it's definitely worth your time if you can find it in a dollar bin. I'm just saying, that's not what I'm recommending you're going to find. What you might find, however, are the various covers for when Marvel did get a hold of this back in 2014. They printed a buttload of these, and like I said, a lot of different covers. So they not only reprinted this cover as like a variant on that issue 1, but seeing the Marvel down below. So it's not the Eclipse version. This is with Marvel. But they printed a bunch of different versions. I'm not even going to show all of them to you, but there was a bunch of different ones from Scotty Young's and the Joe Quesada. You had Jerome Pena did one. You had Lionel Francis Yu did one. Like there were a bunch of decent covers. I think John Cassidy did one in there as well. There's some Neil Adams variants. It might have been store variants. There were a lot of different versions of this cover, some incentives, some that weren't. And they did that basically for this whole reprint run. And that's what these are. These are reprinting that original series from the 80s. Again, but with the Marvel imprint. So these things, there were a bunch of them. I've seen these in dollar boxes all the time. So you might be able to find these there if you want to get back into Miracle Man. But again, remember, the Marvel versions, these are reprints. These aren't the originals. So who knows how much interest is going to find themselves to these books. But if you want to read them, it's a decent read. This is a good way to pick them up. So what does this Marvel version reprint sell for? And this is the cover A, the Joe Q one. So that's why I picked this for this. Just today, $1.85. Buy it now. And then you can see the homage, cover reprint, which I think there is like the C cover, $3. So these things are all less than cover because I believe this was at least a $3.99, if not a $4.99 cover when this came out. So undercover already, the sale prices. And then if you want to see what's available, well, for available, it's kind of the same. Same kind of RAM. I mean, you're talking $8 and $11, but it's not all that bad. And when you're considering these both have free shipping, you got to cut half of those costs just for shipping. So realistically, what are you paying for? So if you pay $5 shipping on $8, you're paying $3 for that book. Just saying, it's not a whole heck of a lot, but you don't have to buy them online. Again, I'm telling you, go find them in those cheap boxes, those dollar boxes, because you might be able to dig them out there. Now, apart from Marvel Man, that's not the only thing we got teased in that Timeless book. Again, it was a decent read. Definitely go check it out. I mean, you got pretty cool characters and little things going on there with moving through different histories and different universes, I guess, for Marvel. But some of the things they're teasing are kind of fun. And one of the things they're teasing is something that's been teased for a while now, especially by Donny Cates when he did that tweet about, make sure you go buy that second print of his Thor #6. We got this crazy Thanos here with the Mjolnir with the Infinity Stones on it, and he's got that glove, and who knows whatever the kind of crazy power-ups he's going to find his way to have in this alternate universe. But yeah, so here's that second print cover of that Thor 6. And this is interior art, so this is what there's a panel inside, just kind of teasing what's to come. You got Marvel Zombies. Who knows what's coming out of all this? But this tease was teased again and yet teased again. So maybe we're getting this in some sort of storyline at some point soon. So yeah, if you can find that second print, go ahead, go buy it. I mean, it's gone up and down. It's gone on a little bit of a ride itself, but I don't think you're going to find this in the cheap boxes. However, you're probably going to find the original, the cover A in there, because you know what? This thing was expensive for a little while. This because everybody was specking on Black Winter. I don't know if you remember that, but when Thor, this restart of Thor, when he was the Herald of Galactus, Black Winter was like the great new big villain that was coming out of this, and issue 5 in particular, and then 6, and so a lot of these, there was a lot of variants produced for this, store variants, a lot of issues printed, so there are a lot of these. So you might find this first print version out there, which again still has that panel inside with Thanos, so you would consider it like a cameo appearance of, I guess, that version of Thanos in the guts. So you might be able to find this for cheap. And if you see what it's actually selling for, well, you can even get it for cheap online, where, look, multiple sales at $2 at auction with 1 bid and 2 bids. Crazy. December 26th for both of those. So $2 online. And what's available if you want to go buy one yourself? Well, $5, or you can buy yourself a nice crispy 9/8 for the big price of $25. It costs $25. It costs more than $25 to get that thing graded yourself. If you just buy shipping it and the grading fees, it's going to cost you more than that. So $25, even with $15 shipping, that's not bad if you just want a 9/8 of this book. Just saying, it's out there. I'm considering it. So if it's not there when I do this video, I might have bought it. But I don't know. It's just one of those things. Whether you believe in this or not, again, it's just a fun little book to go dig again for cheap. That's why I'm pointing this stuff out. I'm not saying go invest long-term in these. Something might come out of these, but ultimately, since I'm recommending it on the cheap price of $1 or maybe $2 at the most, you're not investing a whole heck of a lot. It's just fun stuff to go find and dig for cheap. So if you see this one, maybe grab one. And I think the final one up next that I got also out of this book, there was this big wide shot that teased everything from Punisher's new look. I know it's got a lot of press about the new revamped Punisher logo. We've got, looks like Bucky taking down Cap. I don't know if that's Mary Jane or Mayday Parker, Spider-Man, with looks like a female Black Panther. I don't know if it's Shuri. Who knows? There's a lot of things going on. Jack of Hearts. There's a new god in there. There's return to some dead characters. We've got new Young Avengers. There's a looks like Ben Reilly probably out in Hollywood. Like maybe that's where he ends up after Spider-Man Beyond. A lot of things being teased. But if you look all the way in that very first top corner panel, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. The son takes up the Twilight Sword and strikes down the father. Now, the son, who are they talking about? What is his name? It's like Drake Dormammu or something like that. I forget his name. But Strange Academy. The character, this is Dormammu's son, is in Strange Academy, was introduced in Strange Academy 1, so you're probably not finding this for $1. This is another book that's been spec'd on heavily. Price has gone way up there. You're not going to find his first appearance there. So if you're not going to get the first appearance of Dormammu's son for cheap, then what am I talking about? Well, the Twilight Sword. Now, the tricky thing about this is that in the Marvel Universe, there are at least 2 swords that go by the name of Twilight Sword, or have been referred to as the Twilight Sword, Twilight Blade, I think, throughout the years. And the first one is Surtur's, who you know from Ragnarok, big fire demon dude, huge sword. Yeah, that was one name for his sword that he carried, the Twilight Sword. And yes, the first appearance of that one is, you know, Journey into Mystery 104. So yeah, probably not gonna find that one out there for $1. If you do, yeah, congratulations. But yeah, we're probably not going to get that version. But maybe if Marvel decides to use the newer version that used that Twilight Sword name, maybe that's the one you can dig out. And that is this version, which is related to the X-Men universe, in that X-Men X of Swords, that whole storyline that ran through with all the swords. Like this sword, I believe, cut Krakoa in 2 or created Krakoa. A lot of craziness, and it goes back in time to the... I don't know. Like it goes back in the day where the sword has existed for a while. Not back in time, but you know what I'm getting at. But this particular sword is a newer sword in the Marvel universe that used that name of, you know, the Twilight Sword, and you can see it right here in the little box here. So maybe this is the version, you know, that tore the world asunder. But this one first appeared in Powers of X number 4. Again, this was, again, when the big revamp of the X-Men. So they printed a lot of these. There's a lot of these out of there. Multiple covers, too, on these. And by issue 4 of the storyline, they were still printing a whole bunch, but I don't know how many were selling, and you can find a lot of these things for cheap now. It's just one of those things where once a storyline passes and the hype dies, copies just start to find everywhere, just piling up at shops. So this is one you may be able to find in a discount box of some kind. Maybe it's not in a dollar box, but maybe it's at half cover. Maybe it's in some form of a discount at a shop where it's only like $2 or something like that. Just something to keep in mind. But you can even see online copies selling for as cheap as $5. So I think that was cover price. So selling still December 25th, Christmas Day, one sold for $5. And if you want to go shopping for one right now, what other copies are out there for? They're listed for $289 and $350. So it looks like they're listed for undercover, even online. So cheap book that you still might be able to find. If that's the sword, I don't know. I'm just trying to connect the dots and think of some options. And again, this is just fun stuff to go dig out of a cheap box. If it is the case, it is. If it's not, well, you wasted $1 or $2. I'm not going to be too upset with that. And hopefully you're not either. And hopefully you enjoy, you know, this series as well as this list I gave you. I know it's a little hodgepodge of oddball things that I gave you related to some Marvel stuff this week, but I don't know. This is the kind of news we got right now. This is the stuff that's in the comics. This is the stuff that's being reported online with the rumors. So yeah, this is the kind of stuff I'm just keeping an eye out for when I'm out there digging myself. So sharing it with you guys. Hopefully you enjoy that. So let me know what you think in the comments. And please like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Once again, come follow me on Whatnot. Come check out my sale on New Year's Eve, 10 p.m. Eastern time. There's going to be a bunch of sales too from a bunch of the guys from the site and some friends of the site. So make sure you check out Whatnot this weekend because there's a bunch of sales going on, a lot of good stuff, and a lot of good books that maybe you can win. Again, they're auctions, so there's no commitment. Like, if you don't win, you don't win. Bid what you're comfortable with, and that's it. Just come check out some cool books and hang out in the chat and have some fun. And with that all said, I guess I will see you guys soon with some more content. Later.